everyone. Nice to see you here. We appreciate your presence and your time. Would you like to introduce yourself first?
Sure, I'm Rosalinda Rivera, and I'm with Philcoin. I'm the Director of Operations, and we're excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us be a part of this team. Philcoin is really one of the greatest projects, and what we have done is we're creating giving on the blockchain. We're not just a crypto company that's looking for an opportunity to give, but we're true philanthropists that have merged that with crypto, and we're just making a difference around the world.
All right.
Thank you. So my name is Debattista. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Revpanda. Over the past year, our company is a digital marketing agency company, and we have seen quite a substantial growth over here. In fact, it culminated over the past 2 days. We got to win 2 awards, the Sigma Awards and the AGS Awards for Marketing Agency of the Year, Marketing Tool of the Year. So the dream always starts, at a low level, but then even as a startup, you can dream big and achieve the results. I'm actually happy that the people here are far away from the stage, because today I'm a bit unpresentable, as I had some injuries yesterday. The other guy is worse off. No, but jokes aside, actually, once I want to use this as to lead us for the first tip of hiring the right talent, and that is people. When you go to interviews, they're gonna exaggerate their stories to make them sound much better than they are. So you, as a hiring manager, you need to filter out between what is a true story and what is actually an exaggeration. But we can delve into that further.
That's true, I agree.
Andrew Phillips, I'm the CEO and founder at Axiom Recruit. Axiom are a blockchain and Web3 focused recruitment firm. We're based in Malta, but we have a decentralized team in the UK as well. We work with organizations right across the industry, from top 10 global blockchain organizations right through to startups. I myself have been in international recruitment now for nearly 25 years, which is slightly showing my age, but that's okay. So hopefully bring a bit of insight into what companies can do to be attracting talent.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Josh O'Cock. I am the CEO of Growth Gurus. What we do is help businesses to grow by defining their brand identity, developing their online presence, and then scaling their reach to the right audiences and making it count.
Okay, so I'm the last one. My name is Annya. I'm a team leader at international recruitment agency named Lenkep. We work with high-risk companies, blockchain and crypto mostly, with huge clients such as Hobby Global, with P2P, Lido, and others worldwide. So today our topic is expanding the team, how to hire the right talent. And my first question is actually the most obvious one. What is the secret of hiring talented professionals, and how do you attract them in your companies?
So I'll just start off here and then we'll go from there. And so hiring good talent today can be challenging in the tech world because where the talent goes, the money follows. And so I think for us is that we need to find somebody in line with our culture, in line with our DNA, somebody that's passionate. We are somebody who is a philanthropy, organization, so we need to find somebody that has a heart. I think another thing is we can't oversell the person and tell them tell them things that we're not, because if not, you're going to have them for a minute. One of the other things also in attracting them is telling your story. I think it's important that they know, what your purpose, what your mission is, so that we do not lose so much money in the recruitment, bringing them in and not being able to retain them. So I think that's really important.
Yes, retention is as important as hiring.
Very much so. In fact, I agree completely with Rosalinda. I also think that hiring the right talent doesn't mean hiring the best talent, the best person out there for that particular role. I've been in this industry now for 17 years, and from what I learned from all the hirings that we try to do and everything, the most important aspect of hiring the right talent is actually finding if they fit inside the company or not. Obviously, they need to be good in what they do. They need to be a good talent, but they don't need to be the best ones. Sometimes you hire the best ones, but they were not the right fit for the company with the culture. And that causes more problems than actually solves.
I'm totally agree with you, because, it's hard to manage all the best people in one company.
That was a cracking start. Wow. Those were most of my points put into one sentence. Very well done. Yep, it's about hiring the right talent. So what we do is like this cool exercise, which I'm going to throw out to you in the audience, and you can do it in your mind. So imagine you need to recreate your business on planet Mars. Eliminate yourself and like your leadership team, and then think about the team members from your company that you would take to Mars to recreate your business. The next step is to say why. Why would we take those people? If you don't include yourself, because then those are your core values. You want to see the core values of your brand. Once you list out why you would take those people to recreate your business on Mars, you then combine and extract the duplicates and you prioritize that. Those are your core values of your brand. And this is something I believe very firmly in, recruiting based on core values. Growth Gurus is running on something called EOS, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's built up of 6 components: vision, traction, process, data, issues, and people. So there's a tool in there called the GWC and the People Analyzer where you, when you're recruiting, you score candidates based on your core values and then whether they get it, want it, and can do it. So that's one of the things that has really helped strengthen the recruitment game for us.
And I think with that, I mean, I agree with all the points and excellent what Josh said. We actually use EOS on the basis of yourself, so thanks for bringing that into us. But I think companies need to have a good idea of what you're recruiting for before you go to market, your strategy to do that. Align your stakeholders to all agree in terms of the process, in terms of the types of people you need, and as you say, what the values of the business are. Then when you actually go to market, that is then conveyed to the individuals better, as opposed to just saying we need X, Y, Z as a skill set. It's actually what fits in our company, and then recruit against that.
Okay, ladies, the next question is for you. So unfortunately, like in my personal opinion, I don't see a lot of women on executive director positions, and I would like to know how can we fix that, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a great question. As you can see, the attendance here today, there's hardly any women. But, you know, for Philcoin, for our company, Director of Operations, I'm a woman, one of the co-founders, you know. She's part of the team, as well as our CMO is a woman. Just hired a woman tech. And so I think in anything, you have to be intentional. You know, I think it's Andrew, right? You do hiring. So we got to get guys like Andrew to pay more attention to some women that are out there. You know, they can
We do already, trust me, we do already.
So they can bring just as much to the table. But I think anytime we're trying to be diverse, it's not something that's going to happen accidentally. You really have to be intentional, whether it's a woman, whether it's you need older people, younger people, you know, people from different religions. You just have to be intentional and make it happen.
I agree with that, and if just to sort of back up what you're saying, I think it's important that we do get more diverse work cultures. You know, too many men in a leadership team actually reduces productivity of the business. There's a statistic that diverse leadership teams increase productivity by over 20%. So actually getting more females into the industry, into your business, increases productivity, increases profitability, the longevity of employment, and generally happier workforces. So it is an important point. How do we do it? I think it does come down to hiring. I think ensuring that you have equal share of men, women that are actually doing the interview process, ensuring that you've got gender-neutral questions, gender-neutral adverts being written. You aren't being biased towards one sex or the other. It is trying to be as neutral as possible in that process.
I don't want to get in trouble or get into anyone's bad books, but a good place to start. I've been to many conferences over the years, and when you have something like the startup pitch, often the judging panel is mainly male, and the pitchers are mainly male. And I know I've also struggled with this. It's harder to sometimes create a panel which is diverse, or a judging panel, but it's what Rosalinda said, that intentionality, I believe, is a key factor in doing so, and it's always more appealing to me seeing that balance. So I'm very happy with this panel today on stage.
Thank you.
I perfectly agree with all that he said, basically. It is a real shame that, we're in this situation. I can say from experience, I mean, it's all about talent, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be, about, like Rosalinda said, it shouldn't be about the gender, the religion, their culture, whatever. It should be just plain about talent and what you see and what they tell you.
Okay.
I have one practical tip, which is to prioritize a good work-life balance in organizations, because women give birth to babies and men don't. Obvious, that sounds obvious. But having that flexibility in your work-life balance, in your structure, across all people will allow greater representation of both genders and also opportunities to climb up the ranks.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Thank you. I think that the next question is going to be more like technical. I would like to know, based on your experience, what do you think about different kind of tests, like IQ tests, psychological tests, while hiring people in your company? And sometimes companies they got cultural tests, and based on the results, they will decide if the candidate is a great match or not. And based on my personal experience, I saw a lot of examples when it's like not working, like not as it is supposed to do. So what about your experience?
Yeah, I'd love to jump in on that. Years ago, EQ, you went to the airport, you saw EQ books everywhere. And the reason why is companies were hiring, these six-figure leaders, million-dollar leaders, but personally their lives were falling apart. And that's because typically you're born with your IQ, you can improve that somewhat, but your EQ is what we can shift and change. And so if they don't have it together emotionally, then they may work strong for you for a minute, but then all of a sudden their personal life is falling apart. And so for me personally, I've been involved in philanthropy for many, many years. Our family founded an organization 50 years ago, and EQ is so important. It's a staple. It is something, it's a foundation that if we can test and know before, then you can know what to expect from them. Or if you want to work with them, then you as an employee are now responsible because you know who you hired. And you knew that maybe they were deficient in some areas and stronger than the others. So, I absolutely love EQ tests. It's not something we do it all the time, but it is a little part of our HR process.
Yeah, if I can just say one word, because I spoke about it with several neuroscientists, and they told me that IQ test is like asking a fish, an elephant, and a dog and a cat to climb the tree, and like judge them based on that. So that's actually why I decided to discuss it.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of tests. What I like to do to analyze the person is basically delve into their last 3 jobs to understand if there's any consistencies, if there's anything that actually stands out, and if there's any patterns that might ticker, basically an alarm bell.
Mm-hmm. There's a place and a time for everything, right? There's a place and a time for personality tests. I think if you're recruiting technical positions, it's a given, and it's almost expected. But it should come later in the interview process. People that put that at the very first, it's a way of actually, you can scare off candidates. I think there's different things you can do in interviews that don't necessarily just rely on testing, and you can have value-based interviews. There's a lot of different processes you can go through as an interview process that then doesn't necessarily mean you have to then test at the end. However, I think leadership positions, sometimes it does work.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm with Andy on that one. We do value-based recruiting, and you can do that without sort of a test like an IQ test or an EQ. So what we do is we really embed our core values into the entire careers ecosystem of our brand. By the way, the brand has a huge responsibility in attracting the right talent to your team. Yes. If there's time, I can speak more on that. But just to answer your question, you don't say, how would you rate yourself on figure it out? How do you rate yourself on always get it done? But you would ask questions like, combining a bit of everything. In your previous role, can you please give us an example of how you exhibited one of our core values?
Mm-hmm.
If they don't know how to answer that, they don't know what your core values are, but they're on the job description, they're on the careers page, they're in the video, they're in the if you don't know them, you haven't done your homework. If you haven't done your homework, you're not the right talent. So that's how I prefer to tackle it.
Yeah, I understand you. Okay, that was not on my list, but you mentioned brand value, and I thought that maybe it's a good topic to discuss as well, because I can see companies acting very different in terms of brand. And what do you think? Like, is it that important for candidates to attract them, the brand, the self-representation, everything?
If I can quickly answer that, and then you're sitting next to the brand expert, so I'll let Josh pick that one after me. I think, everyone thinks that the most important thing is salary, and it isn't. Salary is about the fourth or fifth most important thing when it comes to hiring. And it is the same to candidates. People believe I work for a salary. Of course, that is the reason we work, but it's not what attracts us and certainly not what keeps us in business. So when you are hiring, the first things you need to be telling people is, what is the purpose of the job? What's the purpose of the company? What are we doing? What are we trying to build? What's the team like? What's the culture like? Those things are far more important than just salary. So the brand sits well above salary in the list of importance when you are hiring.
The shift? Not to wake up at 6 a.m.?
Well, there is that as well.
I just want to dispel one myth that a brand is a logo. Some people think that. The brand is the actual DNA of your business. It's your vision, your long-term goals, your values, your way of doing things. It's your character, your personality. And if an individual, a candidate, aligns with the values of your brand, they're much more likely to feel happy. They're much more likely to be more productive, more energized, and really put their heart in it because they're aligned. We're going in the same direction. So I know what all of my top talents' 10-year target is on a personal level. And my mission as Growth Gurus is to allow the Growth Gurus vision to help us in order to reach those personal targets. That's what Growth Gurus, we love growth. So I think it's extremely important in keeping talent and keeping them motivated, keeping them focused, pulling the rope in the same direction, but also in attracting it.
Yeah, I understand. So the personal target of your employees is important for you, and you try to match it with your business, right? That's very interesting. But what do you think?
Oh, I mean, I think a big problem that people have is they're trying to fund everything first, and you need to brand yourself first, then you'll market, and then the funds will come. So you have to know who you are, what you represent. For Philcoin, one of the things that we had to ask, do you have a passion for changing the world? Have you had a past in volunteering? Do you have a passion for people, or do you just want to get a job for money? Because if you do, it's just not going to work here. You're not going to be happy. We're not going to be happy. We're not going to grow as an organization. So one of the things that we do, and we've talked about it as a team, is being able to go out and do charitable work together, and you can see their heart. I mean, our business, that's what it's all about. So they've got to know the brand. You mentioned that too, Josh, that if they don't know the core values, if they don't know what we stand for, they're going to be uncomfortable in the space. So I think it's our job as directors and leaders to make sure they know that.
Yes, I can see a lot of employees saying that they don't understand the vision of the company and where the company is going, and I can see that, yes, it is important on the market.
Yeah.
That's the responsibility of the leader of that company.
Yeah.
I brought something with me. This is a core value award of Growth Gurus. The award winner is actually in the audience. This is the Strive for Excellence Core Value Award. Every year, one person in the team wins us a core value award, and the next year they give it to the next winner. We have 4 core values. Trust me, everybody in our team knows what they are, because they all want to win this and take it home for the year. So it doesn't, and this doesn't cost $100,000. You don't need to have a huge budget to instill core values into your business and align them with your brand. But this is an idea.
It's an interesting motivation. It helps you to retain employees as well, I imagine. Okay, so we don't have much time left, only 1 minute. So quick questions. Last one. Do you think that recruitment becomes tougher and tougher within the crisis, COVID, the war, and everything that's happening in the world?
It did in one pace, but also it opened new doors. basically, even for us. I mean, for us, for example, for other companies I've worked with, the fact that now we're looking actually at remote working, something we didn't look at before. So that opened the door for new kind of talent. And as I said before, it's all about the right talent, not the best talent. In fact, just to use an analogy, I'm sure a lot of you are football fans here. Tell me, how many Champions League did Man City and PSG won over the past few years? Since they've bought almost every big player. Exactly. So it's not about getting the best, but getting the right people.
That's a great point.
You know, for us, we had half our dev team in Russia, part of them in Ukraine, and one day we woke up to a new issue there, but we were able to get through it, solve it, and we're continuing to do that. So it's just something that you're going to deal with.
Yes, it's same for most of the businesses here, actually. A lot of people from CIC countries.
And really quickly, I mean, I agree, look, it's always hard to recruit. I've been doing it 25 years. It was hard then, it's hard now. It's always hard to get the right people. What it means is that you've got to invest more time as a business into what it is that you need to be recruiting for, how you sell your organization. You can't go out and say, oh, it's hard, so we're going to struggle to get the right people. That just means you need to spend more time on what it actually is as a brand or what you are communicating to the market to attract people. So I think that's the main thing. Just make sure that you're aligned properly as an organization before you go to market.
Thanks everyone for your attention. I hope that it was productive and exciting.
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
moderating.
Thank you.